there'll probably be some more people who come in, but we got people online waiting. So well, welcome everyone. And for the people over in OC, welcome. Glad there's two cameras over there. Super glad you're joining us. And there's a administrator in San Jose who's also watching. So welcome. This is a really cool event. There's actually going to be like kind of like a pilot program event to be able to duplicate this in school districts in different areas throughout the state of California, which will be really cool. And just a couple housekeeping things. If y'all stick around to the end, we have a really cool announcement at the very end. Please feel free to go get more. I can't talk. Refreshments. And if anyone needs to use the restroom, there is a code. It's 542. It's just down the hallway to the right, right there. My name is Tim, founder of Social Ground, and we partnered with Healthier Kids Foundation on this event. One of our longest standing partners, actually. I'm honored to welcome up Melinda, and she's just going to give a quick overview to the people here and the people online of Healthier Kids and the mission and vision behind that. So come on up.
Well, thank you, Tim, and thank you all of you for being here this evening. If you're not familiar with Healthier Kids Foundation, we've been around for over 25 years now. We were just celebrating our 25th anniversary, and we started in Santa Clara County when we were trying to ensure that all kids had access to health insurance. And once we got all kids access to health insurance, we really wanted to be able to partner with them and their families and help them think about how to use it and how to improve their lifelong success and goals through health. And so we do that in lots of different ways. We do it through health education. We do it by screenings and connecting families to care. And this is one of the many ways. And, as Tim and I partner, something like technology isn't seen like an obvious health intervention, but it's huge for our kids. And so thank you, Tim, for putting it on. We're looking forward to getting to know all of you and for being here this evening.
Awesome. Well, I am going to start this off with, I'm actually going to play a video on TV, and I'm going to give you a little bit of a warning because this video, it will make you slightly uncomfortable. I'm going to give you a warning. The content that they're talking about in the video is just it's an uncomfortable reality of what happens online. So I'm giving you a warning now that it might make you a little bit uneasy, but that's kind of the point. And so we're gonna play this video now, and go ahead.
Okay, sweetie, do that little dance again. Okay. Post. Oh, people are gonna love that.
I could watch this all day.
Who are you?
Oh, Todd underscore 1975.
What are you doing here?
You just made another post of my favorite little girl. She's almost 6 now, huh?
Yeah.
She's looking so good.
Who are you?
I follow little Sally here. I just can't get enough of her.
Oh, gosh, I wish I could just steal her. You guys go to that ice cream shop pretty often, right?
Yeah, those are my favorite posts.
What are you doing? Don't take pictures of her.
You posted it. I can screenshot and save whatever I want and do whatever I want with it. That's the ugliest little kid I've ever seen.
Hey, don't say that about her. She's just a little girl. I can say whatever I want. You posted it.
But Mom, why do these strangers know who I am?
So, I apologize if that made you a little uncomfortable. It is kind of a reality. There's a lot that happens online, kind of behind the scenes that we don't always know about. Kevin, can we kick up the lights on the stage? There you go. That's a little better. So, and this all kind of stems around phones and just kind of the access that everyone has right in their pocket. And if you feel, and even I feel this, and I grew up with phones, if you feel like sometimes you are just kind of at a disadvantage because it's like technology you didn't grow up with, that you're not fully familiar with, and you're not quite sure how to best navigate that with your kids, don't worry. You're not alone. That's actually why we're doing this. That's why we're recording and we're streaming to a few different places. It's because this is something a lot of people like our age, my age and up, and everyone kind of struggles with, because this is not, it's new uncharted territory essentially. So if you're in here and you have kids, how many of you, if your kids have phones, do you ever get frustrated that they're kind of just like always staring at their phones? They're just like, anyone else? I see multiple head nods. Really? You do? Now, here's a follow-up question. Raise your hand if you know what your kids are doing on their phones at all times. I'm up here teaching this, and even I'm there with you. We'll talk later. I'm impressed if you really do. All right. So, how many people in this room have an Instagram account? How many people have a TikTok account? Nice. How many here have kids who play the game Roblox? Nice. Okay. Is there anyone in here who doesn't know what any of those things are? All right, we're off to a good start. On stream, if that's you, then pay attention. If your kids have a phone, they will be on these apps. It's not a if, it's a they will. And you can have even all the stuff we're going to talk about today. You can have all of that stuff on your devices, and your kids will still get past any security measures, anything. If they want to find something, they will. It's just a fact. And so you'll also notice a lot of the stuff we're going to talk about is literally just talking with your kids, just having conversations, having that open dialogue, having that trust with your kids it goes a long way. And so before I go too much more farther into this, I want to tell you a little bit about myself and why I'm teaching this. And it's not just because I grew up with phones and grew up with the internet, but so I run Social Ground, and we are a digital marketing company that's for other companies and nonprofits. It's the partnership Melinda and I were talking about. We help other nonprofits get on social media and navigate social media. And I've worked directly with Meta on a lot of things, and I've also worked directly with law enforcement on social media related incidents and things. And so I've actually worked with law enforcement to help shut down certain things that have happened online. And so that's kind of where I'm coming from here is I'm just a guy who knows social media and online apps really well, and I've seen behind the curtain, like the things that normal users don't see, because I've had these conversations with law enforcement, had these conversations with Meta directly. My company has a rep at Meta that I go to with any questions and stuff, and so I'm just a guy who sees behind the curtain and sees what really happens. And what I'm not saying today is I'm not saying that after this you need to go home and take your kid's phone and put him in a blender. You know, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that all of these apps I'm going to talk about are evil. The problem is that every app has people on it, and people have their own intentions. And so people can take the best of things and use it for evil if they wanted to. And so what I'm going to show you today is how if your kids can use these apps safely. That's the main point. And for some of this, you might just be like, hey, I just prefer my kids to not be on here, and that's okay. That's fine. But if your kids are going to be on there, this is how you're going to do it safely. And then we'll have a Q&A at the end, and I have a couple questions that people submitted beforehand. If you submitted questions beforehand, thank you. So I have a couple there, but let's see. Okay, so the first off, we're going to go into algorithms and how they work, what they are. And this will be a very, if you want me to go in depth on how algorithms work, I'm not smart enough to do that. But I can tell you the overview on what they are and how they work. And to sum it up, a social media algorithm is just a program designed for the end user to spend as much time on that platform as possible. And so it is constantly learning about you. It's constantly watching what you do. And everything is input to your personal algorithm. So every time you stay on a post a little bit longer than a different one, it picks that up as more interest. Every time you hit like, you hit share, it picks that up as interest, and it starts feeding you more of that content that you like. More of that content that it thinks that will keep you on the platform for as long as possible. Um, so, um, so that's kind of how the algorithm works. So let's go into kind of the concept of social media platforms, because you might think it's just Facebook and stuff. It's a lot more than that, actually. So the game Roblox that most of us are familiar with, this has entire communities in the game itself. Um, School districts, they give every student Chromebooks, and Chromebooks have Gmails, and Gmail you can do group chats, and they are wildly unregulated. Yes, they can, if they want to, go do a laptop check what you're doing, but they don't. There's not that many people policing it, and there are tons of students, and so most of the stuff that happens on Gmail group chats and Gmail chats and stuff goes completely unnoticed. Um, and again, this is why trust and open dialogue with kids is so important. Um, Another thing, and if you're under the age of 30 in here, I apologize for outing you all right now, but kids often have their main social media profiles, and then they have fake profiles. And these usually are very don't look at me like that. These are usually unbranded, like they don't have the real name, they don't have the real picture, and so it's like only the people who know about it like go and actually know it's them and follow. But the thing is it's also parents don't know that they have it on there. And so kids, if they create accounts, they will create duplicate accounts that's for like more close friends, and that can lead to issues if they go. FaceTime is another huge one. FaceTime is an amazing tool, but again, like I said, tools are operated by people, and people have their own intentions and agendas. So the way millennials tend to use phones and up is like, I don't know about you guys, but I scroll a lot on Facebook, but I also I play a lot of Candy Crush. Like, that's my thing. I started playing Candy Crush about 2 months ago, and I'm already way past level 1,000. So that just shows you how much I actually play on that. That's not healthy. But the way that millennials use phones is different than how Gen Z uses phones. They use phones primarily for communication, to talk to people. There's actually a lot less social media scrolling with people younger than me than you would expect. It's mostly communication. It's like group chats, talking to people, Snapchats, like DMs, stuff like that. It's a lot of communication. Which again, there's nothing wrong with communication, but like I'll say multiple times, these tools are used by people. People own agendas. So there's some interesting, there's some interesting studies that were done in the past couple of years. This one, Pew Research reported that in 2024, nearly half of every U.S. teen say they are online almost constantly. And it's funny, we talked about Toy Story 5. It's a common trend right now of like people wanting to get kids off of screens and like go touch grass, like go outside. Almost like I see parents just like, man, I miss when kids used to get in trouble with the police because at least they weren't on their phone, they're outside and stuff. Crazy how things. But like these are some of the platforms that were used. YouTube being the main one. YouTube is like shorts. They have games on there now, and there's long form videos and stuff. But people my age and older grew up with Saturday morning cartoons. People my age and younger now have YouTube, except it's 24/7. Another one is TikTok. Lots of kids are on TikTok. Lots of people are on TikTok in general. And it's here to stay. That whole ban thing never actually happened. So it's here to stay. Instagram, Snapchat, and then you'll notice a lot of younger people, they're not on Facebook, WhatsApp, Twitter, Reddit, Threads as much. It's mostly those top four right there. And the Surgeon General advisor says up to 95% of youth ages 13 to 17 report using a social media platform, with more than a third of them saying that they're on social media almost constantly. So right now we're really just setting the stage for how things are. But think about that. Like, that's a lot of students their community is on these apps. Like, and who you have around you is what shapes you. And if you're constantly online in these online communities, that is what is going to shape you. And so I can't emphasize enough that like this will affect how your kids are raised. And especially younger kids, like the preteens, like they're very formative. Like these are formative years for kids that age. I know this. I have a 13-year-old, and I also have a 1-year-old, or turning one. But like, I see both ends of the spectrum here, and like these are prime years for being formed with the person that they're going to be for the rest of their life. So we're talking about digital life, but we're talking about something that's just normal for people. Like being online constantly is just normal for people. So we kind of talked a bit about the algorithm. Let's talk about the community. Because when a lot of the times when we were growing up, things were planned in person. Now things are planned in group chats. There's a phrase which I feel older. The fact that I just learned this, but it's like, oh, let's make this plan. Leave the group chat. That's a real thing. Like tons of people say now. And it's like that's where stuff is planned is in the group chat. So when plans leave the group chat, it's when like it's like uncommon for like things to actually happen in real life now because everything just happens online. But this is where kids play games together. This is where people talk about school projects. And with the algorithm and the community, it's really hard to blame kids for wanting to be online just all the time. This is like a picture if we were growing up and like you started, your parents started saying like, hey, you can't hang out after school. You have to come directly home. You can't hang out with your friends after school. Well, that's basically kind of what you're saying when you say you can't be on certain apps where like kids hang out and talk and stuff. At this point, just screens, online stuff is just part of culture. And so we either have to learn how to adapt or we're going to all fall behind. And so, again, we're just setting the stage here. So let's talk about some practicals on what can actually happen. And what you can actually do to help things. And as we go through some of these practicals, we're going to talk about certain apps. We're going to talk about what happens on these apps, like the real side, and what you can do about it. So, again, I really don't want this to be like apps, social media, all this stuff, evil. No, it's not evil. Like these things are good. These things is like this is where community happens. If we didn't have this type of technology in 2020, we would all be miserable. Like we would all be miserable. So this is just where community happens now. So first off, if you have a child and they have a device, set them up with a child account. Android and Apple, they both have this. What a child account does is it allows you to have certain rules and restrictions on their phone that you can manage from your phone. So you don't even need their phone to see what websites are going on, to control how long they're on apps, to control this and that. You don't need any of that. You can do that all on your phone. And so you can program everything on there. My daughter loves it. She loves the screen time. She loves when she's playing a game and she hits her screen time limit and it just shuts off. Like that's a real thing. She loves that. But Apple has these features built into their iPhones for free. Androids do too. And if you want to take it a step further, there's a company called Bark that you can look into that you can install software on computers, phones, and they even actually sell a Bark phone that is very monitored. So you can set them up with this. And then this does a few things. It does a lot of the screen time features that I was talking about, but it also gives this thing called app approval. And so in order for someone who has a child account that you manage to download an app, they actually have to ask you for approval. You have to set it up, but so they're not going to download an app without you knowing about it. So if you're worried that they're going to set up a Snapchat account without you knowing, well, they can't get the app on their phone without you approving it. And so it takes some of the guesswork behind it, out of it. And so here you can see, I'm going to show you exactly how to get to it. Kevin, if this doesn't work, I'll have you hit play, but I think this should work. Okay, here we go. So settings, screen time, right here. See app and website activity, all this. It tells you everything. You can see how much time they spend on there. Downtime, man, downtime is like the greatest thing ever because it literally shuts their phone off at a certain time. So, and we'll get into this a little bit, but yeah, you basically like 9 p.m. to 7 a.m., their phone is a brick. It does not work. And this is the number one place I recommend parents start. Number one, because Nighttime is actually like the worst time for your kid to be on their phone. That's when poor decisions are made. Any adult who's been to a bar after midnight knows that nighttime is when poor decisions are made. And so it's the same with kids on their phone, except they don't need the courage to go out in public to do something. They can do whatever they want straight from their room behind a closed door with their phone. And I even recommend taking it a step farther. No child should be charging their phone in their room. Like that should be, okay, I'm sorry. It's great if they can charge their phone in your room. At my house, my daughter charges her phone in a certain place where she has to walk through our room to get to her phone. So she can't get to her devices in the morning without waking us up. So we know exactly when, and we make sure that her devices are put up and on the charger before she goes to bed. And if she sneaks it somehow, her phone shuts off anyway because of these, like the tools that are there. And so we all know nighttime is when bad decisions are made. This does not just stop at like going out. This is on their phone too. Emotions are different. Feelings are different. Depression is different. All that is different late at night when you're alone in a dark room. It's all different. So protect your kids late at night. And my personal preference is kids shouldn't be staying up that late anyway, but that's not what this is about. I don't have authority to talk on sleep patterns for kids. I have authority to talk about online. So app control. You can set not only make it to where they have to ask for your approval to download the app, but you can also set screen time limits in the app. You can monitor what they're doing in the app. So we're going to go through a couple things. So social media apps. These are the main ones here. There's more, but these are the main ones. No, I don't think anyone should be on Twitter, if I'm being honest. It's gotten a lot better recently, and I'm not talking about politics, please. I'm not going there. I'm talking about the dangerous grooming aspects and stuff. It's gotten so much better. If you don't agree with certain politics in your mind, it might have gotten way worse or it might have gotten way better. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is the actual dangerous side of like trafficking and grooming that happened on Twitter. It's gotten so much better now, but go into that a little bit later. So social media, there are also games, Roblox, Minecraft, all with their own communities within the game. We're going to talk a good amount about Roblox because that one is probably run by the most evil people on Earth. It is a bad platform. I highly recommend staying far away from that. In our house, it is very strictly monitored, and we do not give them any money. And then we have these community apps, Reddit, we have Twitch, we have Discord, Discord probably being the main one. Lots of younger people are on Discord. That's kind of like an unregulated more place where they can talk with their friends, being group chats and stuff, where school districts really can't see it. Parents usually don't know much about Discord, so they're not going to go look for it. But it is a wildly popular. And then we have AI apps. And I purposely did not include any icons on here because some of the AI apps that we are going to talk about are just straight up evil and terrible. And I hope to God that your kids don't use or have to interact with any of these. AI is an amazing tool. I love what AI is doing in tech. But in this case, like I said, it's a great tool. Used by evil people, it can be terrible. So we're going to dive in to a little bit. So social media. I think most people have heard and probably understand how the comparison aspect on social media is terrible for mental health. That I think a lot of us have heard. Screen time in general, you're looking at other people's lives. And the thing is, like, social media platforms, it's only your highlight reel. Like, you don't actually put any of your real problems. That's for the fake accounts we talked earlier. But no, like, you don't put your real account, your real problems on there. So kids are out there comparing their life to the best, their real life, their unfiltered life, to the best version of someone else's life. And that's just never a fair comparison. And another thing that happens is well, let's talk about Snapchat for a second. Snapchat, I'm gonna let you all draw your own conclusions, but Snapchat is an app where it's wildly unregulated and anyone can send a photo to any time to another account that disappears within a matter of seconds. So I'm gonna let you all draw your own conclusions on what happens there because it is also wildly unregulated. There are some instances, and it's rare, where Snapchat picks up on something and alerts the FBI. That does happen. They kind of try, but it is very rare that that actually happens. And you can assume that out of the 1% or 2% of the time that actually happens, that Snapchat probably won't catch someone you know what they're doing on the app. But yes, it like draw your own conclusions on what can happen there. And the dark side of some of these apps is, we all heard the don't talk to strangers as a kid, right? I mean, it's the same problem, just in a different platform, and it seems way safer because before, a little kid would look up at I'm grossly over stereotyping right now, but look up at a gross old guy, being like, hey, like, come talk to me. And they'd be like, ooh, no, I don't like this. You seem weird. Your vibes are off. I don't like any of this. I'm going to go to my parents. Nowadays, that same person, again, I've grossly over stereotyped. I'm sorry. That same person can mask themselves as someone their own age and become friends with them and slowly start talking to them more, start like telling them things, start convincing them to do things. This is called grooming. We all know what grooming is, and that's how it happens online. And it happens way more often than you would think. Like, way more often than you would think. Like, it happens. So I can't stress how much this actually happens online on every single one of these platforms. Instagram and X being the worst out of them. This happens frequently. And we're going to get into some other things like different extortion things that happen online way more than you would expect. But kind of the overview. And so, but what this ends up being is you need a lot of discernment. You need a lot of maturity to be on these platforms to understand who is safe to talk to and who isn't. You get a younger kid that's unregulated on any one of these platforms, the gaming platforms especially. We're going to talk a lot about Roblox where this happens daily. And they're too young to understand the dangers of what's happening. They're too young to understand that, like, oh, this person who's talking to me, they make me feel really special. They make me feel really good. Well, this dude or woman or whoever is doing that on purpose so they can coerce the kid into doing something later on down the line. So here's what you can do. So we went over the screen time. We went over the app approvals. Those are amazing first steps. Like, these are great things that you can do. My age for letting my own kids have social media is 16. And because anytime after 16, and they're going to do it anyway, so you might as well be in on it and have a conversation. And the great thing is when kids are under 18, you can still tell them what to do. And so, that's great. But if they do have a social media platform, if they do have one, if they already have one or something, or if you're going to allow them to have one, maybe they convince you, maybe there's a good reason, I highly recommend you just have their password. Say, okay, you can have an Instagram account, but it's going to be logged in on my phone too. I'm not going to talk to your friends. I'm not going to snoop on you too much. I just want to be aware in case I see something suspicious that comes through, I can flag it. Like, I just want to know what's happening there. And so, yeah, be logged in. I help at a youth group at a local church here, and half of the students there, their Instagram accounts are also logged in by their parents. And it keeps them accountable, and it keeps them in check, and it keeps them from doing dumb things. And if you set up a fake account with, your normal account, you can actually see that there's multiple accounts. When you log into that account, you can see that they have multiple accounts. So it would give you an idea on if the fake account thing is actually happening. And then the screen time limits. And then, of course, this is going to be a recurrent thing too. Have conversations with your kids. Just be open about it. Like, ask them questions. Be interested in what they're doing. I promise you will never regret it. Let's move over to games, and specifically Roblox. There's this guy named he's a YouTuber and his name is Schlep. It's a weird name, but that's his thing. So I'm gonna read this because this is a direct quote from an article, and I'm gonna talk about it a little bit. But on August 9th, 2025, Schlep, a Roblox-focused YouTuber known for conducting sting operations against sexual predators, was permanently banned from Roblox due to his alleged violations of terms of service. Let's let that sink in for a sec. He was doing sting operations to report predators on Roblox, and he got banned from Roblox when the people he was reporting still had their accounts. That's what I mean by evil. Okay, so Roblox, they actually sent him a cease and desist letter. So I'm not making this up. Threat to take legal action if he resumed his activities. Like, what? This is what I meant by, like, it's run by, like, evil people. The ban gained a lot of traction. It gained a lot of media controversy. It mounted a lot of pressure. And a U.S. congressman by Ro Khanna, shout out Ro Khanna, he's our congressman here in this area. That guy, man, he contacted Schlep. Like, he reached out to this YouTuber. First off, most congressmen don't even know that YouTuber is, like, a career. And he knew enough to be able to contact him, sit down with him, meet with him, and created a petition to urge Roblox to actually have better child protection policies in place. So again, not going to get into the political side. You may like him. You may not like him. I respect what he did there because I didn't see anyone else doing this. And again, none of this, I want to repeat, is not meant to be scary. It's meant to show you the reality of what can really happen. Cars are great. Car accidents suck. It happens. It's a part of having it. Like, these good things are used by people with their own intentions. So, how can we help? Screen time limits. These are great. My daughter hates them. Just limit the amount of time that they can be on there. Talk to your kids. Explain how unsafe these apps can be if used poorly. And then ask them how much fun they have when it's used properly. Like, get them excited about using the apps properly and safely, and talk to them about the actual dangers that can happen when they use them improperly. Set ground rules with real consequences. One time, this is a hilarious story. I don't know if this is a great dad moment, but I'm going to share it because it's real. I told my daughter, I'm like, hey, we're all cleaning the house. If I come back and you're just glued to your phone, I'm going to take the phone out of your hand and I'm going to throw it in the yard. I'm just going to chuck it into the yard. And that sounds ridiculous, right? I'm pretty sure she didn't believe me. Well, I left the room and I came back and she was still on her phone. I literally walked up to her very calmly. I pulled the phone out of her hand. I opened the door and I threw it outside. That's the actual thing I did. I don't know if that was a good move or not, but the point is real rules with real consequences. Like, set a boundary, set a rule in place, and let them know by following through that, hey, if I betray your trust and if I actually do this, like, there will be actual consequences that will come from this. And explain why you're doing it. Don't just set rules. Like, explain, like, hey, these rules are here to keep you safe, to keep these things from happening. The rules are here because I want you to enjoy these apps, and the only way that you can enjoy them safely is to follow these rules. So, yeah, that's the next thing. Let's talk about community apps a little bit. Again, Discord being the main one. And this is another thing. Discord is often faceless people talking. And a lot of the times, kids will be on gaming apps like Roblox, and they will meet people on those apps, and then they'll be like, hey, can I have your Discord? Because Discord voice chat is a thing that people have playing while they're playing other games. That's a thing, and so they're like, hey, can you add me on Discord so we can play games together? Seems harmless. What you don't know is, like, that person, you don't know who this person is. You don't know what their intentions are. They could be anything. And so oftentimes what happens is, like, these older adults try to friend younger kids on Discord where they meet through the apps, and they coerce them into doing who knows what. Lots of things. It's a real things that happens. Also, Gmail is another one. Like I said, MUSD here, for example, provides every student with a Chromebook. And like I mentioned earlier, these Chromebooks are wildly unregulated. Like, yes, they actually really frustrate me because they're locked down enough to where I can't install something like Bark on it, but they're so unregulated that like the kid can still do whatever they want on it. So it's like the worst of both worlds, honestly. It's pretty frustrating. But here's how you can help. Again, talk to your kids. Set some ground rules. Follow through with the consequences. Review apps before allowing your kids to download them. Like, set up that feature. Like, if you have kids and they have phones, go make sure that feature is set up today. And like, review all the apps. I have another rule that is I do random phone checks where it's like I have the Face ID, I have the password, and they, like, my daughter knows that randomly I will go through her phone. It's a condition of her having a phone is that I can go through it whenever I want. And I don't do it to be nosy. Like, if I can tell a thread is like just them talking about boy drama and stuff and nothing dangerous, I usually don't look through it. Like, I don't read it. I just try to find the stuff that could be harmful. But yeah, I highly recommend the phone checks thing. And if you, like, kids who've had phones for a while might, like, be very turned off by the whole phone check thing. But if you establish that as a rule right away when they get their phone, it's normal. It's normal to them. All right. This is the one I honestly, I don't want to talk about this one, but I'm going to because it's important. AI is in everything. And again, it's good and it's bad. I'm just going to kind of go right into it. There are AI apps that actually, they're called Nudify apps, and they do exactly what it sounds like. They are AI apps where you can upload any picture of any person, and it uses very complex AI algorithms to create a naked picture of that picture. And this is something that is available to literally anyone. Anyone with a phone can download these apps. Most of the time, they're free, and they are, again, wildly unregulated. Whenever people are caught, then there have been people who've been caught, like, creating AI naked images of minors. It's not from the app itself. It's because they sent it to somebody and they got reported. That's how people get caught. And so there are probably a lot of people out there who are not sending them to people. They're just keeping them for themselves, and they will probably never get caught because of that. And this happens all the time. This happens, like, this is the thing, like, don't post your kids. Like, that's a great reason to not post your kids on social media, because if you have a public profile and people are looking, even, honestly, even if you have a private profile, like, and you have people that you don't really fully know, when you post kids online, anyone can screenshot, download the photo, and upload it into one of these apps and create that horrible material. And, like, if this sounds like a conspiracy thing, if it sounds like, oh, like, that's like the worst case scenario, no, I hate to say it, but this happens all the time. It happens all the time. It used to be called deepfake when people had, like, Photoshop and stuff, and now it doesn't even take any skill. It takes the skill of knowing what app to download. And they're not even hard to find. They're on the App Store. Apple claims that they have this really secure, tight, locked down App Store. They don't. Like, people with apps like this, you could go download them right now. And this is how available this stuff is. And it is actually kind of scary. And again, they're extremely unregulated. All they care about is money. That's really all they care about. They don't care what material goes through there. So when I was in high school, and this still happens now, like I said, I'm really involved in my local church's youth group, so kids will sometimes come crying because this has happened, is when a kid's naked picture gets leaked and they start sending it around the school. That's something that happened a lot when I was in high school, and it's something that still happens to this day. What it used to be is, like, not trying to victim shame, but I will say that it used to be that a female or male, whoever's their picture is getting leaked, they had to take the picture first and send it to someone for it to get leaked like that. So they had to make a poor decision first in order to put themselves in that decision. And again, I'm not trying to victim shame. Please don't take it that way. It's just the first step to having a picture leaked is taking the picture. Nowadays, though, it can be anyone who just has a picture of them, fully anything, and someone runs it through one of these AI Nudify apps, and like I said, they're complex algorithms, and sometimes they're indistinguishable from a real thing, and then they can take that and circulate it to whoever they want. No needing to take the picture needed. You could be the most guarded person and never do any of that, and it could still happen to you. And that's just a reality. And I really hate to say it, I don't have a lot of good fixes for this. Like, this is one of the few things tonight that I'm going to talk about that, like, you just have to be really careful and really vigilant and really vocal. But I think it's important that everyone here, everyone watching, I think it's important that you know about it. I think it's important that you're aware that these things can happen. So if I pray to God it doesn't happen, but if it ever does happen to you, you're at least knowledgeable of what this is. So you can skip past the, what is this? Did you do this? Like, you could skip past all that and just go straight to, okay, how do we handle this now? Like, that's my hope here. And what that's called is called, like, one thing that can happen is it's called sextortion. It's like extortion, but having to do with this type of material. And I apologize. I can feel the room's getting tense. This is really not fun stuff to talk about. But again, it's really, really important to talk about this stuff. But sextortion happens when someone coerces or threatens a young person using some of these images or claims that they have one. But now with AI, like I said, like they can just make their own and use it to extort someone to do other things. It's like, hey, if you come meet up with me, I'm not going to send this to your parents. And again, happens way more often than you would think. It can turn into threats quickly. Your child may panic because they feel fear, they feel shame, they feel like they're going to get in trouble, they feel like it's their fault. Like, all of these things are very real possibilities. That's why talking to your kids is so important and just having that. And tell your kids, have this conversation with your kids that if something ever happens like this, just make an open door policy. Say, hey, if this ever happens to you, I will skip, like, the punishment. I will skip the shaming you for doing this because it might not have even been you. I will skip all of that, and we will go directly to how do we solve this. Like, have that conversation. That way, if it ever does happen to one of your kids, they know that, okay, if I go to my parents with this, they're not gonna get mad at me. They're not gonna get in trouble. Like, I'm not gonna get in trouble. They're gonna help me fix it. And it's really important to have that conversation before anything like this ever happens. And I hope and I pray that this never happens to anyone's kids in here. We need to talk about it because it happens so frequently. But yeah, the FBI, law enforcement, they all actually have tools to handle this. Like, if you're going through a sextortion case, the FBI actually has like tracking tools they like track the IP address, and they can't always find the person often, but oftentimes they do. They find the person who's doing it, and they can actually put them in jail. And so it's really important to contact law enforcement when something happens like this. Do not go to social media. Just go straight to law enforcement. There's a thing, if you post a case that is open on social media, it could actually hurt your chances of getting a conviction. That's a thing. So just skip does anyone know this person? They're blah, blah, blah. Just go straight to law enforcement. Like, that's a thing. Some real stats. The FBI states that it has seen a huge increase in cases involving children and teens being threatened or coerced to sending explicit images online. The FBI reported 26,718 financial sextortion reports in 2023, and in 2022, that was up from 10,731. So that is a double in a year, and I can only assume that as AI becomes more available, stuff like that will happen even more. So, how do we help? First off, just breathe. That was uncomfortable. We made it through. We pushed through. So, how do we help? like I said, talk to your kids. Talk to your kids. If anyone is interested, I have handouts over there, and I'm going to send out an email to everyone with resources. Like, all this information will be on that document with resources, places you can go, and just kind of keep that stashed away just in case something like this ever happens to you or someone you know. And again, I hope it never does, but there's resources that that will actually help you if you're ever in this situation. But another thing, again, I don't want to be political, but like, the people have to contact their congressmen, their senators, to like start pushing legislation to like get more teeth on the fight of this like sextortion stuff with AI apps. Like, there's a surprising lack of policy around all of this. It's like we're in the Wild West right now. And usually it takes legislators like time to catch up. But I can think of a few examples where like the House got together in like 2 days and passed a bill on certain like issues that have happened. Like, how has this gone this long without any real, like, yeah, there are technically laws on the books that could convict someone. But like, let's get some real laws passed. Like, let's get some actual activity done where legislators can be like, hey, these apps are going to be banned. Like, I'm no fan of censorship myself, but if an AI app can unconsensually remove someone's clothing, I feel like that should be illegal. Like, I feel like that should be illegal. But yeah, limit the amount of time your children are on social using screen time things, and limit how much you post your kids online. That's a big one. I try never to post my kids online for this very reason, just because I've seen firsthand what can happen. Like, luckily, it's never happened to me, but there's a story. I can't share too much because it involves 3-letter law enforcement agencies, but there was a time where I was actually working with one of these agencies to help take down a trafficking ring on Twitter. And this is why I mentioned earlier, Twitter has gotten a lot better. Oh, she doesn't like that. Twitter's gotten a lot better since the acquisition. I'll just say that because I don't want to mention the person's name because you either love them or you hate them. And I feel like around here most people hate them. That's fine. I'm not talking about that. But I'm saying since the acquisition, there were, from my point of view, like the inside, like dealing with it before and dealing with it after, there were actual things put in place to prevent stuff like this from happening. And so it's gotten a lot better, but it's still a very dangerous Wild West there. And again, you might not like hearing that Twitter got better, but like it's the reality of things that happen, you know? If you don't like it, even a broken clock is right twice a day, right? You know, like good things can still happen. But we need that. We need more. We need more of that. We need more things put in place to stop this stuff from happening. But I put together a list, and I actually consulted. I wanted to get one of them here, but all of my therapist friends that I have live in other states for some reason. There's a wild lack of like mental health therapists in California. I feel like that's another thing that we should push. Like, I feel like that should be way more available, and like insurance companies should cover it. That's a side note. We're not talking about mental health here, but I actually consulted with some people to create this list. So these are things that kids need to hear from parents. Like, they need to hear this from you. And they're just going to be one-liners. If someone threatens you online, tell me immediately. You will not be in trouble. That's something that they need to hear. If someone asks for a photo, tell me immediately. Me and my daughters, I don't sugarcoat things. I ask very raw, real questions. And I get real answers because we talk a lot and we built the trust. If someone sends something explicit, tell me immediately. You won't be in trouble. If someone creates or shares fake images of you or someone else that you know, tell me immediately. If you made a mistake, I still want you to come to me quickly. You won't be in trouble. Never handle this stuff alone. Like, these are things your kids need to hear from you. Because kids are dumb. I hate to say it. I'm sorry for the kids in here. Kids are dumb. Like, men, I'll focus on men. How about that? Like, I'm a man. I can talk about men. Your brain doesn't fully develop until you're 25. That's like halfway through college if you go to college right away. Like, kids are dumb. I'll just stick to men. Men are dumb, and like they do stupid things. And like if your kid messes up and they do something dumb, it's just because they're a kid and they don't know any better. And like, but what they need to know is like, hey, even if I mess up, I'm not gonna get in trouble. I can still go to my parents for help. And they need to know that, not just like they need to feel it. They need to know it. That if they come to you for help, they won't be in trouble. My parents were pretty good at that when I was growing up. I just should shout out. But here are some warning signs that you should look out for. I also I didn't mention this before because I didn't know if I wanted to say it, but I did peek into a group chat one time that my daughter did not participate in, but was in. She was not speaking. I'm very proud to say that because of what I'm about to say. But I did peek into a group chat one time, and I'll just be blunt. I've never seen the hard R N word used so many times than in a group chat. Wow, I didn't know that was still a thing. I didn't know that was still widely used. I thought that was eradicated. Apparently not. Yeah, and this was not like, this was here. This was like a local group chat, like in California. And wow, I was very taken back. I'll just say, okay, I just had to throw that in. Like group chats, stuff goes crazy in those. But these are warning signs that every parent should watch out for, okay? So this will be in the handout. Please listen. These are things you need to watch out for. And if you're a grandparent too, these are things to watch out for. If you watch over kids, sudden mood changes after being online. It's a big one. They spend some time on their phones, suddenly their mood completely shifts. That means something happened. You're supposed to go online to engage with your friends, to play games, to have fun. So if you notice like a bad mood shift after they were on their phone or online on something probably happened. Increased anxiety around posting or responding. So whenever you talk about a group chat, a comment or something, all of a sudden they get really anxious. That's a warning sign to watch out for. Obsessive checking of likes, comments, messages, or streaks. Honestly, that's me. I'm kind of addicted to the dopamine of like, getting a bunch of likes on things. I kind of started a whole company on it. But that's like something to watch out for because that can lead to a lot of the comparison, a lot of the I get my validation from likes online. That's a very slippery slope. Withdrawal from offline friendships or family time. That's a big one. If all of your time is now spent online and not in person, like I said, online communication can be a good thing and it's important. Keeps kids connected, especially in today's day and age where a lot of parents are a bit more weary of having their kids go over to other, parents' houses. It's good to have a platform where your kids can still hang out with their friends, even if they don't go over to their house. But when they start to withdraw from everything else, that's a problem. Sleep deprivation, that's a big one. That means your kid is staying up all night. Don't let them do that. That's bad. That's bad for their health. Again, I'm no expert on sleep rhythms in kids, but I can tell you if your kid's going to sleep past 11 o'clock, and even that's late for some people, that's too late, and it's not good for their brain development. Like, it's actually not good for scientifically, it will make them, grow a lot more anxiety. It'll lots of unhealthy patterns. Again, I'm not the expert in that, but I can tell you that. I've heard it from experts. This one's big. A big emotional reaction when their phone's removed. Like, it's normal if you take away your kid's phone to have them, throw a fit. But if all of a sudden it gets, watch out for the signs. If it's more... There's a phrase that I use to handle people, and it's, if the reaction's above a 5, it's probably something else. That applies here, too. If you take away their phone, if that reaction's above a 5, there's probably something deeper going on that you should probably look into. Any child that says that they feel left out, they feel ugly, they feel hated, they feel behind, they feel invisible, these are all things to look out for. Because that, again, it goes in with the comparison thing. Okay. As parents, how should we respond? How should we respond to this? Start being curious. Never be furious. I had to throw a rhyme in there. Be curious, not furious. If you notice one of these warning signs, start asking questions. Don't be like, why are you so tired all the time? You staying up? Just be like, hey, I've noticed your energy is lacking. What's keeping you up at night? Like, be curious. Ask questions. No kid responds to fury. Kids respond to genuine interest in what they're going through. Ask what happens before you lecture. I wrote this one for myself. My daughter in the back knows I love to lecture, but ask questions before you lecture. Figure out what happens. Like, you need all the facts before you start spouting your parental advice. Help them with what they're feeling. Remind them that online metrics are not their identity. Don't shame a child for caring about online feedback. Like I said, this is part of their community, and so it's very similar to like what your friends would say in person now. And if there are signs of self-harm, suicidal thinking, serious distress, get professional help immediately. I feel like that should go without saying, but I'm going to say it anyway. If there's anything that, like, trained doctors and mental health experts are there for a reason, and that's a career for a reason, because that is a specialized skill. As parents, we can care, we can love, we can talk, but we are not experts in a lot of this. And if your kid is going through something that is actually serious, they need expert help. A lot of kids will not open up if they feel like the response will be punishment. So you need to make sure that you're creating, I'll use the term maybe I'll use the term if I can say it, a safe place for your kids to be able to come to you and be like, hey, I need to come to you with something, and I need you to just put all of your punishment aside for a second because I need help with this. They need to make sure that they know that they can find that in you. Sleep, healthy boundaries. Never let your kids go to sleep with their phone. Like, have it in another room. Have it in your room. Have it in the living room. Have it somewhere where they have to walk past you to get to their phone. Set these downtime and screen limits up so their phone, like, literally shuts off. Like, these are things that we can do, practical things that we should all be doing with kids to make sure that they can stay safe. I have a whole section here about nighttime. I think we all understand the harm of nighttime. Just compare it to, like, when you were young and you would go out to a bar and, you know, it would be like midnight. Nothing good happens after midnight anywhere, especially not online. So, all right, that's what I have. I have a couple questions that I'm going to go over, but then I'm just going to open up to any questions in the room. Anyone who has anything, you can say it. So one of the questions was, how can I coordinate with my school better? So California schools, actually, there's a law in place now that regulates phone usage in the schools. So there's actual legislation around that now. But when you do the downtime on there, there's actually ways that you can let certain contacts in the phone bypass all of the downtime features. So you can put your phone, trusted people's phones, and so just have their phone on downtime all throughout the school day, but they can still call you if they need to. Another one is, how do I know if this stuff is happening with my kid? And I kind of went into that, but just pay attention to the warning signs. Mood shifts, like every kid has mood shifts when they're going through puberty, especially. But like, pay attention to when it happens. Like, if they're on their phone and all of a sudden they get a mood shift, if they come home from school and they're fine, and then they look at their phone, all of a sudden something happens and they go bolt to their room. Those are warning signs to pay attention to. Those are the kind of the summed up questions. So, does anyone have any questions in the room? I know I talked for a long time. Do people find this helpful? Awesome. Okay. All right. Well, then my yapping is done. So I have a cool kind of announcement. Again, we're here with Healthier Kids Foundation as a really cool partnership. And one thing, you probably saw all the clothing there. We actually, Social Ground, my company, we are launching our own clothing line. And every time we do an event, half of the proceeds are going to go to a nonprofit. So any clothing that's picked up here, half of the proceeds will go to Healthier Kids Foundation to support them and to support their mission. And Healthier Kids has just been an amazing partner of Social Ground for a few years now. Very honored to partner with you. And we'll partner for a long time, right? Yeah. But Yeah, so if any, and this goes through the rest of the month. So until July 1st, anything that's purchased. But I also, the reason we started this is this is a whole separate thing, but I hate the fast fashion world. Clothing that is barely held together that you can wear a couple times and then it falls apart. I hate that. So everything back there is quality clothing, like made very well for a fraction of the price. And so we're at fast fashion prices, but with quality clothing. So a shirt costs us $20 here would normally cost you like $60 somewhere else if you bought it. And I confirm this because I know exactly what type of clothing is going into places like Zoomies and I see their prices. So I'm not just, hypothetically speaking, this is real. So yes, anything that's purchased, half of the proceeds will go to Healthier Kids Foundation. Even if it's not your style, pick it up for someone you know because we want to support our local foundations here. So anyways, that's it. Feel free to hang out. Feel free to chill. Feel free to finish up the refreshments. And I'm still here if you want to ask any questions that's not on a live stream that are more personal. I'm still here. You can come. So thank you, everyone, so much.